The deep space monitoring station Kepler-7 drifted silently through the void between galaxies, its sensors constantly sweeping the cosmic darkness for any sign of intelligent life. Commander Zara Okafor had been stationed here for 3 years, watching the endless stream of data that flowed through the quantum processors. Most days brought nothing but background radiation and the occasional pulsar signal. Today was different. The anomaly detector screamed to life at 0347 hours, jolting Zara from her morning coffee. Red lights bathed the observation deck as she rushed to her console, fingers dancing across holographic displays. What she saw made her blood run cold. "Computer! Verify signal authenticity," she commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Signal confirmed authentic. Origin point. Andromeda Galaxy, outer spiral arm. Signal strength increasing exponentially. Estimated time since initial transmission, 70,412 years. 70,000 years. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. Nothing in known space had been transmitting that long. The oldest civilization humanity had encountered was barely 12,000 years old. Zara's hands trembled as she activated the emergency beacon. Within minutes, her small crew of 6 had assembled in the main observation chamber. Dr. Marcus Chen, the station's xenolinguist, arrived first, still adjusting his glasses. "What do we have, Commander?" he asked, settling at his workstation. "Something that's been calling out in the dark since before human civilization existed," Zara replied, transferring the data to the main display. The signal appeared as a complex waveform, pulsing with mathematical precision. It wasn't random cosmic noise or natural phenomena. This was deliberate, designed, intelligent. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Sarah Morrison, the communications officer. "Look at the power output. Whatever sent this could light up an entire solar system." Dr. Chen's fingers flew across his keyboard, running the signal through every decryption algorithm in the database. "It's not following any known communication protocol. The mathematics are elegant, almost beautiful, but there's something else." He paused, his face growing pale. "Commander, there's a secondary transmission embedded within the primary signal. It's much more recent." "How recent?" Zara asked, though she dreaded the answer. 3 hours ago." The room fell silent except for the hum of machinery. A signal that had been dormant for 70 millennia had suddenly awakened, and something had triggered it to send a new message. "Can you decode it?" Zara asked. Dr. Chen nodded, pulling up translation matrices. "The mathematical base appears to be universal constants. Give me a few minutes." While he worked, engineer Pavel Volkov ran diagnostics on their equipment. "All systems functioning normally. This isn't a malfunction or interference. We're really receiving this." Zara activated the quantum communicator. "Kepler-7 to Earth Command. Priority Alpha transmission. We have a situation that requires immediate attention." The response came 18 minutes later, delayed by the vast distance to Earth. "Earth Command to Kepler-7. Admiral Harrison speaking. Report your status." "Sir, we've detected an artificial signal of unprecedented age and power. Origin point is Andromeda Galaxy. The signal appears to have reactivated after being dormant for over 70,000 years." Static filled the channel before Admiral Harrison's voice returned. "Kepler-7, maintain position and continue monitoring. Deep Space Research Division is being notified. Do not, repeat, do not attempt to respond to the signal until further orders." "Understood, sir. One more thing, Admiral. The signal appears to be trying to establish communication. We're working on translation now." "Dr. Chen," Zara called out. "Any progress?" The xenolinguist looked up from his console, sweat beading on his forehead. "I've got something. It's not what I expected." He transferred his results to the main display. Slowly, letter by letter, words began appearing on the screen. The crew watched in stunned silence as the message revealed itself. Ancient protocol activated. Hibernation cycle complete. Scanning for designated inheritors. Search parameters. Species designation humanity. Location: Milky Way, galaxy, Sol system, third planet. Status: located. Message begins. The Watchers stir. The long sleep ends. Humanity, your time of reckoning approaches. Dr. Chen's voice was barely a whisper. Commander, there's more coming through. New text scrolled across the display. You were once known to us. Your species has forgotten, but we remember. The compact was made when your son was young. The debt remains unpaid. Prepare yourselves. We are coming. The message ended, leaving the crew staring at the display in shock. Zara felt her mouth go dry. Dr. Chen, is there any chance this is a mistranslation? No, Commander. The mathematics are precise. This message is specifically addressed to humanity. Whatever sent this knows who we are and where to find us. Lieutenant Morrison's voice cut through the silence. Commander, I'm detecting multiple secondary signals activating across Andromeda. Same pattern, same source signatures. It's like something is waking up an entire network. Engineer Volkov checked his readings twice before speaking. Commander, based on the signal strength and dispersion pattern, I estimate approximately 10,000 transmission points have activated simultaneously. 10,000. The number sent chills down Zara's spine. This wasn't a single entity reaching out across space. This was a civilization, a vast network that spanned an entire galaxy. Computer, analysis of transmission origin points, Zara commanded. Analysis complete. Origin points form a geometric pattern encompassing 17% of Andromeda galaxy. Pattern suggests artificial placement and strategic positioning. Dr. Chen pulled up stellar charts, overlaying the signal origins with known galactic features. Commander, look at this. They've positioned themselves around every major trade route, every habitable system cluster. This is a surveillance network. For what purpose? Lieutenant Morrison asked. To watch, Dr. Chen replied quietly. To monitor every species in that galaxy for 70,000 years. The implications hit them all at once. Somewhere in Andromeda, an ancient civilization had been observing, waiting, and now they were mobilizing. And they knew about humanity. Zara's communicator crackled to life. Kepler 7, this is Admiral Harrison. We've been monitoring your transmissions. The President has been briefed. You are ordered to maintain absolute silence about this discovery. A task force is being assembled. Sir, with respect, I don't think we can keep this quiet for long. The signal is still broadcasting, and any listening post in this sector will pick it up. Understood, Commander. We're implementing Protocol 7 across all monitoring stations. Any facility that detects this signal will be isolated until further notice. Protocol 7. Zara had heard of it, but never seen it implemented. Complete information lockdown, restricted to the highest security clearances. Whatever was happening, Earth Command was taking it very seriously. Sir, one more thing. The message mentioned a compact, some kind of agreement made when our son was young. Do we have any records of first contact from that era? Negative, Commander. Humanity had barely discovered fire 70,000 years ago. Whatever this compact refers to, it predates human civilization by millennia. The channel closed, leaving the crew alone with their discovery. Zara stared at the still active signal display, watching the alien mathematics flow across the screen like digital blood. Dr. Chen had been working quietly at his station. Commander, I've been analyzing the linguistic patterns in the message. There are similarities to proto-human language structures, almost like whoever wrote this studied human communication patterns extensively. That would require them to have been monitoring us for thousands of years, Engineer Volkov observed. Exactly. But if they've been watching us that long, why reveal themselves now? What's changed? Lieutenant Morrison looked up from her console. Commander, I'm detecting a new signal pattern. It's different from the first message. The main display updated with new text. Humanity of Sol 3. Your species has grown beyond initial parameters. Expansion rate exceeds projections. Technological development accelerated. Assessment, threat level rising. Initiating containment protocols. The compact must be honored. The blood debt must be paid. The signal abruptly cut out, leaving only cosmic background radiation. Dr. Chen, what did they mean by blood debt? Zara asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. In most ancient cultures, blood debt refers to a life owed for a life taken. Usually it passes from generation to generation until satisfied. You're suggesting that ancient humanity somehow wronged this civilization? It's possible. Or perhaps someone wronged them on our behalf. The message mentioned we were known to them, implying previous contact. Engineer Volkov's console chimed urgently. Commander, I'm detecting massive energy signatures moving through Andromeda. Whatever's out there, it's mobilizing. How massive? Zara asked. Fleet-sized. Maybe larger. The energy readings are off our charts. Zara closed her eyes, trying to process the magnitude of what they'd discovered. An ancient civilization with technology beyond human understanding was awakening after 70 millennia. They knew about humanity, had been watching them, and considered them a threat. And now they were coming. The quantum communicator activated again. Kepler 7, this is Admiral Harrison. Priority override. You are ordered to return to Earth immediately. A science team will take over the station. Sir, shouldn't we continue monitoring? Negative. The Admiralty has decided that your crew's first-hand experience with this contact is too valuable to risk. You'll be debriefed by the Strategic Intelligence Division upon arrival. Zara looked around at her crew. In the space of a few hours, they had gone from routine deep space monitoring to being the first humans to make contact with an ancient galactic power. The weight of that responsibility settled on her shoulders like lead. Understood, Admiral. Beginning shutdown procedures now. As the crew prepared for departure, Dr. Chen approached Zara privately. Commander, I've been thinking about that compact they mentioned. If it was made when our son was young, we're talking about events from Earth's prehistoric period. But what if it wasn't made with humans? What do you mean? What if the compact was made with whoever was on Earth before humans achieved sentience? What if we inherited this debt without knowing it? The thought sent ice through Zara's veins. Are you suggesting there was another intelligent species on Earth? Not necessarily from Earth, but the message was very specific about Sol 3, third planet from our sun. They weren't just looking for humans in general. They knew exactly where to find us. As Kepler 7's engines powered up for the long journey home, Zara stared out at the vast darkness of space. Somewhere in that infinite void, ancient powers were stirring, ships were moving. And Earth, oblivious to the cosmic forces gathering against it, continued its peaceful orbit around an ordinary yellow star. The signal might have gone quiet, but Zara knew this was just the beginning. Whatever debt humanity had inherited, whatever compact their predecessors had made, the bill was finally coming due after 70,000 years. And from what she'd seen of their technology, humanity might not be able to afford the payment. 6 weeks after the discovery at Kepler 7, Dr. Elena Vasquez descended into the depths of the Arcanum Vault, 3 kilometers beneath the streets of Geneva. The facility housed humanity's most closely guarded secrets, archaeological finds too sensitive for public knowledge, and now the most urgent research project in human history. The elevator descended past layer after layer of security checkpoints, each one requiring a different biometric scan. Elena's clearance level had been upgraded just days ago, granting her access to files that most world leaders didn't know existed. The main research chamber buzzed with activity. Scientists from every discipline worked around the clock, searching for any clue about humanity's mysterious past. Ancient texts, archaeological artifacts, and geological samples covered every available surface. At the center of it all stood Admiral Harrison and Dr. James Thorne, the project's lead researcher. "Dr. Vasquez," Admiral Harrison called out as she approached, "I trust your flight from Cape Town was comfortable?" Elena nodded, though comfort was the last thing on her mind. "I came as soon as I received your message. You said you found something in the Blombos cave samples?" Dr. Thorne gestured toward a sealed examination chamber. "More than something. We found everything." Inside the chamber, arranged on a sterile white surface, lay objects that defied explanation. They appeared to be tools, but made from materials that shouldn't exist. The metal gleamed with an inner light, unmarked by the passage of time. "Carbon dating puts these artifacts at exactly 73,000 years old," Dr. Thorne explained. "But the materials are impossible. This alloy contains elements that don't occur naturally on Earth." Elena leaned closer, her expertise in early human development suddenly feeling inadequate. "Where exactly did you find these?" "That's the disturbing part. They were found alongside early human remains, but not randomly scattered. They were deliberately placed, arranged in a specific pattern. Almost like a grave offering," Elena finished. She had seen similar arrangements in countless archaeological sites, but never with materials like this. Admiral Harrison activated a holographic display. "Dr. Vasquez, what we're about to show you is classified at the highest levels. 3 weeks ago, we discovered that the Blombos cave finding wasn't unique." The display showed a world map with red dots scattered across every continent. Elena counted over 50 sites. "Every major early human settlement we've investigated has yielded similar artifacts. Always the same pattern, always the same age, always the same impossible materials." "You're telling me that 70,000 years ago, every human settlement on Earth was in contact with an advanced alien civilization?" Elena's voice betrayed her skepticism. Dr. Thorne nodded grimly. "That's exactly what we're telling you. But it gets worse. We've found evidence of genetic manipulation." The holographic display shifted to show DNA sequences. Elena's background in anthropology included enough genetics training to recognize what she was seeing. "These samples are from the human remains found with the artifacts. Notice anything unusual?" Elena studied the sequences carefully. "The mitochondrial DNA shows markers I've never seen before, and these protein structures, they're not human." "Correct. Someone altered early human genetics, deliberately, systematically, and they did it at every site where we've found their technology." The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. "You're saying they created modern humanity?" "Not created," Admiral Harrison corrected. "Modified, enhanced. The base human genome was already there, but someone made improvements. Increased brain capacity, enhanced immune systems, improved longevity. The changes were subtle, but significant." Elena sank into a nearby chair, her mind reeling. Why would they do this? Dr. Thorne pulled up another display, showing star charts and trajectory calculations. "We think we know. 3 months ago, shortly after the Kepler-7 incident, our deep space monitors detected something else. Long-range gravitational sensors picked up massive objects moving through intergalactic space. They're heading directly for the Milky Way." "The fleet mentioned in the original message?" "More than a fleet. Based on gravitational displacement, we're looking at structures the size of small moons. Dozens of them." Elena felt her world shift beneath her feet. "How long until they arrive?" "At their current velocity, approximately 18 months. 18 months. Elena tried to wrap her mind around the timeline. In less than 2 years, humanity would face a civilization that had been manipulating their evolution since before recorded history. "Admiral, I need to see everything. Every artifact, every genetic analysis, every piece of evidence you've gathered. Over the next 12 hours, Elena immersed herself in the most extraordinary archaeological discovery in human history. The evidence was overwhelming and terrifying. The alien civilization hadn't just made contact with early humans, they had systematically modified the entire species. The genetic changes followed a clear pattern: enhanced cognitive development, particularly in areas related to problem-solving and innovation. Improved physical coordination and reaction times. Most significantly, alterations to the brain's structure that seemed designed to make humans more adaptable to technological advancement. They were preparing us, Elena realized, staring at the genetic charts. All these modifications, they weren't random improvements. They were specific preparations for technological development. Dr. Thorne looked up from his own research. Preparing us for what? Before Elena could answer, alarm klaxons began blaring throughout the facility. Admiral Harrison's communicator crackled to life. "Admiral, this is Deep Space Command. We have a situation. The alien signals have resumed, and this time they're not coming from Andromeda. What's their origin point?" "Local space, sir. Something large just decloaked at the edge of our solar system." Elena felt her blood turn to ice. "Decloaked? You mean they've been here already?" Admiral Harrison was already moving toward the exit. "Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Thorne, you're coming with me. We need to get to Strategic Command immediately." The elevator ride to the surface felt like an eternity. Elena's mind raced with questions and implications. If alien ships were already in the solar system, humanity's preparation time had just been cut dramatically short. The Strategic Command Center was in chaos when they arrived. Banks of monitors showed sensor data from across the solar system. What they revealed defied comprehension. "Sir," reported Colonel Martinez, the facility's operations chief, "we have visual confirmation. The object is massive, approximately 800 kilometers in length. It's holding position just outside Neptune's orbit." "Any signs of hostile intent?" Admiral Harrison asked. "Negative, sir. It's just waiting." Elena stared at the main display, where computer-enhanced images showed the alien vessel. It wasn't like anything from human science fiction. The ship appeared to be grown rather than built, with organic curves and surfaces that seemed to pulse with inner light. "Admiral," called out Dr. Chen from a nearby console. Elena recognized him as the xenolinguist from Kepler 7. "We're receiving a transmission from the vessel." "Put it through." The message appeared on the main screen, translated into clear English. "Greetings, children of Sol 3. We are the hegemony, shepherds of young civilizations. You have matured beyond our projections. The compact requires renegotiation. One representative will be permitted to board our vessel for discussions. Choose wisely. Your species' future depends upon this meeting. You have 72 of your hours to decide." The message ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "Admiral," Elena said quietly, "I think I understand what the compact was." All eyes turned to her. The genetic modifications, the technological preparations, even the timing of their return. I don't think they were invaders or explorers. I think they were gardeners. "Explain," Admiral Harrison commanded. 70,000 years ago, early humans were just another primitive species, but the hegemony saw potential. They modified our genetics to enhance our development, then withdrew to let us grow naturally. The compact wasn't a treaty between equals. It was a cultivation agreement. Dr. Thorne's face went pale. "You're saying humanity is their crop?" "Not exactly. More like an investment. They enhanced us, guided our development from a distance, and now they've returned to see what we've become." Colonel Martinez looked up from his console. "But the original message mentioned a blood debt and threat level rising. That doesn't sound like a proud parent checking on their children." Elena nodded grimly. "Because something went wrong. We developed faster than they expected. The message said our expansion rate exceeded projections. We've become something they didn't plan for." Admiral Harrison activated his secure communicator. "I'm calling an emergency session of the Global Security Council. We need to decide who represents humanity in this negotiation." As the command center erupted into coordinated activity, Elena found herself drawn back to the display showing the alien vessel. Somewhere inside that massive ship, beings who had shaped human evolution were waiting to determine humanity's fate. But which would it be? Proud creators greeting their successful project, or concerned gardeners preparing to prune an overgrown plant? The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity had passed their test or failed it catastrophically. Dr. Chen approached Elena as she studied the ship's image. "Dr. Vasquez, there's something else you should know. I've been analyzing the linguistic patterns in all their messages, the way they refer to us, the terminology they use. It's not how one species typically addresses another." "What do you mean?" "They speak to us the way a parent speaks to a child, but not a beloved child. More like a disappointing one." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. If humanity had disappointed their creators, the consequences could be beyond imagination. The beings who had enhanced human evolution certainly had the power to undo their work. As she watched the alien vessel hang motionless in space, Elena realized that humanity's greatest challenge wasn't proving they deserved to survive. It was proving they deserved the gift of enhancement they had unknowingly received 70 millennia ago. The countdown to humanity's judgment had begun. Ambassador Sarah Chen stepped onto the alien vessel with the weight of humanity's future pressing on her shoulders. The transport shuttle had taken 6 hours to reach the massive ship, giving her time to review everything humanity had learned about their mysterious creators. As the airlock sealed behind her, she found herself in a corridor that defied physics. The walls seemed to breathe with a soft, organic rhythm. Light emanated from surfaces that appeared solid but felt warm to the touch. The gravity was perfect, the air composition ideal for human lungs. They had prepared this space specifically for her arrival. A figure emerged from the shadows ahead, tall, elegant, with features that suggested both ancient wisdom and terrible age. The being wore robes that shifted color like liquid starlight, and its eyes held depths that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "Welcome, daughter of Sol 3. I am Keeper Vorthak, speaker for the Hegemony Council. You honor us with your presence." Sarah had trained for this moment, but the reality of standing before one of humanity's genetic architects left her momentarily speechless. She gathered her composure and bowed slightly. "Thank you for receiving me, Keeper Vorthak. I am Ambassador Sarah Chen, representing the United Earth Government and the human species." Vorthak's expression remained neutral, but Sarah detected something like disappointment in those ancient eyes. "Come. The council awaits." They walked through corridors that seemed to stretch beyond the ship's physical dimensions. Sarah realized the vessel operated on technology that made human science look primitive. The walls displayed images of countless worlds, species in various stages of development, civilizations rising and falling under the hegemony's guidance. "Tell me, daughter of Sol 3, Vorthak said as they walked, what do your people know of their origins? We know that you enhanced our ancestors 70,000 years ago. We've found the artifacts, analyzed the genetic modifications. We know you shaped us into what we are today. And what do you believe we shaped you to become?" Sarah had debated this question with Earth's greatest minds for weeks. A successful technological civilization, one that could advance rapidly and efficiently. Vorthak stopped walking and turned to face her. "Is that all?" Before Sarah could respond, they entered a vast chamber that took her breath away. The council chamber was a sphere of impossible size, with no visible walls or ceiling. Floating platforms supported a dozen beings, each more alien and ancient than Vorthak. At the chamber's center, holographic displays showed real-time images of Earth. "Behold the Hegemony Council," Vorthak announced. "Shepherds of 1,000 worlds, guides to 10,000 species. We have cultivated civilizations across this galaxy for millions of years." Sarah looked around at the assembled beings, each one representing a different species. Their diversity was staggering, yet they all shared an aura of immense age and wisdom. "You are all enhanced species," she realized. "You're all artificial creations." "Correct," replied a being that looked like living crystal. "The hegemony consists entirely of species that have been elevated beyond their original limitations. We create order from chaos, intelligence from instinct." Vorthak gestured toward the Earth hologram. 70,000 years ago, we discovered early humans, primitive, violent, competing with Neanderthals for survival. But we saw potential, raw creativity coupled with unusual adaptability. So we enhanced you. The genetic modifications were designed for specific purposes, added another council member, this one resembling a living shadow. Increased cognitive capacity for technological development, enhanced social cooperation to enable large-scale organization, improved longevity to allow accumulation of knowledge across generations. Sarah felt a chill. What was our intended purpose? To become a productive member of galactic civilization, Vorthak replied. Like all our other success stories, you were meant to develop into a stable, peaceful species that would contribute to the greater harmony of the galaxy. The word "meant" hung in the air like an accusation. "But something went wrong," Sarah said. The crystalline being's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Oh, nothing went wrong with our enhancements. They worked exactly as designed. The problem is what you did with them." New holograms appeared around the chamber, showing human history at accelerated speed. The rise of agriculture, the development of writing, the Industrial Revolution, spaceflight, all compressed into moments. "Observe," Vorthak commanded. "We enhanced human cognitive capacity by 30%. Most species use such enhancement to develop philosophy and art. Humans used it to create increasingly sophisticated weapons. We improved human social cooperation," the shadow being added. "Most species form peaceful confederations. Humans organized into competing nations and spent millennia perfecting the art of war." "We extended human lifespan," said a third council member. "Most species use the extra time for contemplation and wisdom. Humans used it to accumulate power and resources." Sarah watched the accelerated history display with growing unease. From their perspective, humanity's greatest achievements looked like mistakes. "But we also eliminated diseases, ended hunger, began exploring space," she protested. "Yes," Vorthak acknowledged, "in the last few centuries, but only after spending 69,000 years finding better ways to kill each other." The chamber filled with new displays, showing humanity's rapid expansion into space. Colonies on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, deep space exploration vessels pushing toward other star systems. "This is what concerns us," Vorthak continued. "Your expansion rate exceeds all projections. Your technological development is accelerating beyond safe parameters. And most troubling, you show no signs of achieving the stability that marks a mature civilization." Sarah felt anger rising in her chest. "You're judging us based on your expectations, but we became something different than what you planned. Doesn't that have value?" "Value?" The crystalline being's form brightened. "You speak of value? Show us the value in this." The displays changed to show recent human conflicts, wars, environmental destruction, social inequality. But Sarah noticed something the council seemed to have missed. "You're only showing our failures," she said. "What about our successes?" "Such as?" Vorthak challenged. Sarah straightened, drawing on years of diplomatic training. Our art, our music, our literature, the fact that we've produced thousands of different cultures, each with unique perspectives, our refusal to accept limitations even when imposed by beings far more advanced than ourselves. Cultural diversity is chaos, the shadow being replied dismissively. Order requires unity. Does it? Sarah asked. Because looking around this chamber, I see beings from dozens of different species. If unity was truly superior, why would you need such diversity in your council? For the first time, she detected uncertainty in their expressions. Sarah pressed her advantage. You enhanced us to be creative and adaptable. Then you're surprised when we refuse to follow the same path as every other species? Maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe that's the point. Vorthak's eyes narrowed. Explain. Every species you've elevated has become stable, peaceful, and productive. But they've also become predictable. When was the last time any of your other projects surprised you? The silence that followed told her everything. You've created a galaxy of successful civilizations that all think and act within acceptable parameters, but humans refuse to stay within those parameters. We've become something you didn't expect and can't control. Precisely why you must be contained, the crystalline being stated. Your unpredictability makes you dangerous. Or valuable, Sarah countered. When was the last time your council faced a challenge it couldn't anticipate? When did you last encounter a problem that required thinking outside established patterns? She gestured toward the displays still showing human space exploration. We've been in space for barely a century, and we're already pushing toward other star systems. Not because it's safe or logical, but because it's there. When did any of your other species show that kind of ambition? Ambition leads to conflict, Vorthak said, but his tone was less certain. Sometimes, but it also leads to growth, discovery, innovation, the things you enhanced us to be good at. Sarah took a step closer to the council platform. You say we're dangerous because we exceed projections, but maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs. Maybe you need a species that doesn't think like all the others. The chamber fell silent except for the subtle humming of alien technology. Sarah could see the council members exchanging glances, communicating in ways beyond human perception. Finally, Vorthak spoke. You propose that your species' deviation from intended development paths is beneficial rather than problematic. I'm proposing that you succeeded better than you knew. You wanted to create something special and you did. But you're trying to judge us by the standards you set for civilizations that came before us. The blood debt remains, the shadow being interjected. Your expansion threatens established territories. Your aggressive nature endangers peaceful species. Sarah felt a moment of fear, then realized what she needed to say. Then give us something better to do. Explain. You've been shepherding species for millions of years. That's an incredible responsibility, but it's also a lonely one. When did you last have partners instead of subjects? When did you last work with beings who could challenge your assumptions and offer new perspectives? The holographic displays shifted again, showing the vast network of hegemony space. Thousands of systems, millions of worlds, all ordered and peaceful under their guidance. We offer ourselves not as subjects, but as partners, Sarah continued. Let us help you shepherd the galaxy. Use our unpredictability, our refusal to accept limitations, our drive to explore and grow. We'll push boundaries you didn't even know existed. Vorthak was quiet for a long moment. And if your aggressive tendencies lead to conflict with existing civilizations, then we'll deal with that together, as partners. You have the wisdom of millions of years, and we have the drive to face whatever challenges come next. The council deliberated in silence for what felt like hours. Finally, Vorthak spoke. The Hegemony Council reaches consensus. Humanity's deviation from projected development parameters is noted and accepted. Sarah felt her knees nearly buckle with relief. However, Vorthak continued, partnership requires trust. You will accept hegemony guidance in your expansion. You will respect established territories. And you will prove that your unique traits serve the greater good of galactic civilization. How long do we have to prove ourselves? Sarah asked. Vorthak's expression might have been a smile. As long as it takes. After all, we waited 70,000 years for you to mature. We can wait a little longer to see what you become. As Sarah prepared to return to Earth, she realized that humanity had just passed the most important test in their history. Not by meeting expectations, but by exceeding them so completely that they had changed the rules of the game. The signal that had lain dormant for 70 millennia had awakened to find not the obedient civilization the hegemony expected, but something entirely new, a species that refused to be contained by anyone's vision of what they should become. And for the first time in their ancient history, the hegemony was excited to see what would happen next.